Welcome to OROKPO Fire Altar.
Your life will count. And so anybody who is living on earth who does not grow in progressive experience of God, anybody who is on earth who does not grow in worship of God, and anybody who is on earth who is not participating in advancing God's agenda, his existence is useless. The reason God put you here is to know him. The reason God put you here is to worship him. And the reason God put you here is to advance his kingdom. And unfortunately, the world has become so disconnected from God that today, instead of growing in these truths, we are arguing whether God exists or not. That is how far departed we are. And so one of the biggest debates on earth today is the debate on the subject of the existence of God. So we have not even come to a point where we believe he is, let alone talking about knowing him, worship him, or serving him. We are still at the level of debating whether God exists or not. And you know the problem, the more we advance in technology, in civilization, the more we become departed. And so when you go to places where you think people are educated, then you now discover they grow in secular knowledge and they become spiritual illiterates. That is the unfortunate irony of life. And so we need to revisit the subject of encounters to find out how to meet this God and to find out how to walk with him. Because if you take it for granted, you'll be surprised that a large percentage of the world don't even believe he exists. I was studying the other day about the subject of the debate about the existence of God, and I was seeing strange arguments, ontological arguments, teleological arguments, cosmological arguments, and people, intelligent scholars were trying to argue for God's existence. And I was like, how can somebody walk through this earth and argue whether God exists or not? Meanwhile, the people arguing that he doesn't exist, they believe it. It's not like they are just trying to debate. They are convinced that God does not exist. And it was a very heated argument that God is real, God exists. I'm like, what's going on here? That's why the subject of knowing God has become very critical to me. If we were in a philosophical gathering, I would have gone into some of those debates. But because we are not in a philosophical gathering, I will show you how to encounter God from a biblical perspective. But you are in a country where you may need some of those philosophical truths. So study it, it will help you. Because we are going to engage people in your offices that will tell you, God, there's nothing like God. There's nothing. I'm not meeting them here, so I won't go into that. Praise God. But you see, it's important for you to encounter him. John said in 1 John chapter 1 from verse 1, he said, that which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have looked upon, and our hands have handled of the word of life. He said, that is what we have come to commit to you. So John was telling us that once upon a time, himself had not encountered God. He only heard about God. Once upon a time, all he knew about God was what somebody told him. He said, that which was from the beginning, which we heard. A preacher told me about God. My father told me about God. In fact, there are people who don't even know God, but in order to respect their parents, they come to church. But somewhere in their heart, they say, this thing is not. Let's just come to church. So John was there. I heard it from the beginning. He said, but a point came when we saw him, we looked upon him, and we handled him. Every believer must come to that point where he has encountered God and has handled God for himself. He has experienced God for himself. So when we are dealing with the subject of encounter, we are talking about an interaction, experiential interaction with God. You must come to a point where in your lifetime you experience God, you encounter God for yourself. It's beyond what a preacher told you. It's beyond what your father told you. It's beyond what your mother told you. You must come to a point where you can say, I have met this God. He is real. I can bank my life on him. It is from that point that Christianity will make sense to you. If you don't get to a point where you encounter him for yourself, In the day of trouble, you will question your conviction. You know what Satan does? Satan will not attack your conviction when you are celebrating in church. Satan will not attack your conviction when you are receiving a blessing. Satan will attack your conviction when there is warfare, when your resources are under attack, your health is under attack, and Satan will ask you, that God you spoke about, what did you say again? Did you say he's real? Did you say he's a healer? Did you say he blesses? Did you say he's faithful? And you will be shocked if you have not encountered him, that circumstances will make you reverse on your conviction. This is why we deal with the subject of encounters, because when you begin to encounter God, three things will happen to you. Number one, there will be a conviction furnished on account of revelation. You will have a conviction that is based on the encounter that you have had. Even if you cannot explain it, even you will not be able to deny it. Number two, there will be a transformation furnished, because if you meet this God, he will change you. The Bible says, we all with unveiled face, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, he said we are changed. Listen, there is no good man anywhere. Everybody you see who is good, everybody you see who is Christ-like, met a dimension of God. Because when you meet him, you are transfigured into his likeness. So when you see people who are like God, it's because they have met God. If you have not met him, you can't become like him. Encounters transform. Everything you are struggling with today is a reality that justifies your consciousness. There is no character, there is no lifestyle that is not first of all a thought, and there is no thought that is not a root of conviction or of consciousness. So the way this thing works is that a man's outward disposition is a revelation of his inward essence. If you are afraid, it's because you encountered something that put fear in you. If you walk in lust, it's because you encounter something that put lust in you. This is why in the kingdom we don't cut off the limitations of our lives, because we know those limitations have a root in our consciousness. The reason we go for encounters is because when we meet God, lust will die naturally, because lust has a root, it's a product of another encounter. When we meet God, fear will die naturally, because fear is a product of another encounter. So when we want to do real transformation, we get people to meet God. So encounter will not only build conviction, encounter will generate genuine transformation. This is not window dressing where you act pious, when you act righteous in church to satisfy the demand of the congregation. This is you being righteous because you have encountered the righteous God. The reason we talk about these encounters is so that every one of us will have a conviction that is rooted beyond what circumstances can alter. The reason we talk about encounter is to raise genuine men who are like God, because when we see him, the Bible says we become like him. And number three, when you encounter God, you'll be commissioned. Nobody met God and was idle. The moment you meet him, you will take your own share, you will take your own part in his service. You know why we beg and motivate people to serve? They've not met him. If you meet him, you will find your place. If you meet him, you will enter your own service lane. Encounter commissions men. And I'm going to show you a few scriptures this morning, because every one of us here is to be commissioned to represent him. You may not be representing him in the fivefold, but when you get to the parliament, God will come there. When you get to the academia, God will come there. When you enter the business world, God will come there. But for you to be equipped and empowered to represent him there, you need to encounter him. This is why without encounter, life in itself is futile. People will be living for their appetites and their ambitions, and they will not do anything that strikes a chord in eternity. But when encounter is formed, conviction is formed. When encounter is hard, transformation happens. When encounter is secure, commissioning happens. You will find people who are representing God and are willing to die for God. If you want your life to enter that rhythm, you need an encounter.
Thank you for watching.